Hey, everybody, welcome to Backyard Blue, just two brothers talking sports and whatever else comes our way. I'm brother number one by birth order anyway. That's me, Blake Miller. My students call me Mr. Miller. Mama calls me Moose. We still haven't figured out why. Brother number two on the other side of the screen, that is my brother from the same mother, Hunter Borland, the Hunt Daddy, the head hunter. My daughter calls him Hump. Hump, what's happening, man?
Not a whole got done with the little T-ball coaching, so I had to wear my Griffey shirt, which I think may have been your shirt at some point. I'm not real sure, but had to rep the Griffey shirt for practice tonight.
Are you the best swing in baseball? How's your swing?
I don't think I'm swinging a bat. I don't know the last time I swung a bat. Probably 11th grade. I really have no idea. No, I played softball in college, intramural softball, but I was just the opposite field hitter, go get on first base and let somebody else hit a home run.
You do what you do, man. That works. I think we're at the age, if you swing too hard, you're going to pull a muscle. So,
yeah. I told you, I think last time, I don't know if I told you before we recorded or after, but I literally had a sore hamstring from kneeling down and tossing batting practice to the kids. So me running the first base is not happening ever again.
I get it, man. I totally get it.
It's so sad.
Anna's like, you should coach. I was like, are you sure about that? Are you sure? I don't think I can do it. Maybe eventually one day, but I watch this time. I'm like, man, I don't want everybody criticizing me. So you're brave to do it. It's really cool that you are. I know your kids.
It's a blessing. I'm not the head coach. Just helping out. But the head coach is going to be out of town Thursday, so I'm running practice. So we'll see how that goes. It may just be I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be interesting.
Prayers up for Hunter on Thursday.
Prayers up.
All right, so today we're going to continue our NFL preview. We're going division by division. We're previewing the NFL season using team win totals gathered from Fanduel Sportsbook. We'll give you our over-under picks and tell you what our confidence is in each of those picks. We'll then tell you which division winner bets we like, if there are any that we like. And today's preview, we're going to be recording 2 episodes. The first one is right now. That is going to be the AFC North, featuring the Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, and Baltimore Ravens. Very interesting division. I'm looking forward to getting into this one. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Let's talk about those Cincinnati Bengals. Their over-under sits at 6.5, with the under being the favorite here. The over is actually even odds, plus 100, if you happen to take the over there. Division odds, plus 1,600. I don't think a lot of people see them as a division contender. However, stranger things have happened. There's always a worst to first in the NFL. I want to start off with you telling us about Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. What's your thoughts?
First of all, this is my favorite division. I don't know why, even though these teams play more an up-to-date type of football, spread the ball around, Lamar Jackson running the ball, the more read option, even though that kind of resembles the triple option from back in the day, or the wing T, I guess they called it. For some reason, it still feels like all of these teams always have a good defense. When you get to November, December, it's like that smash mouth. I feel like this is the only division that has real rivals in it, like, because they're always good. Like every division, like the Chiefs are rivals with the Raiders, but the Raiders haven't been good in forever. The Cowboys are rivals with the Eagles and the Giants and Redskins, but the division hasn't been good in a while. Or the teams, like there's one really good team and then 3 not so good teams. So I feel like this is the one division that has like legit teams that hate each other. Like they can't stand each other. They just knock the piss out of each other every time they play. So to get that out of the way, this is my favorite division. The Bengals, I love Joe Burrow. I loved him at LSU. He just seems like an awesome guy to be around, competitor, going to be really good. But they have weapons on the outside, Jamar Chase coming, but they have no offensive line. It's the same problem as last year. He's going to get mauled. Their schedule's pretty tough. I just don't see how they get the 6.5 in that division. I hope Burrow plays really well, comes back from his injury, but I think they're going to be a really good team in 2 years. Like, I think they could be where, like, they're starting off where the Browns were a couple years ago. Like, you see it. Like, you know it's coming. but they're still a couple years away. And until they get that offensive line shirt up, I just don't see how in that division right now, how they get to 7 wins. I can't see it. They're going to be probably right around that 5-6 mark, but I'm going under.
Man, I think this is going to be a theme for this episode, but I disagree with you on this one. I do think the line is bad, and I like what you said about Joe Burrow. I think he's on the way to being something special. The line is not was a problem last year, but I think they've invested in it at least a little bit. They made an early round pick on Jackson Carman, who's going to play right guard. I think you expect Jonah Williams to be better at left tackle. They also invested in Riley Reif at right tackle, and he's nothing special, but he's a solid right tackle. And they're going to be, if Carman is good, you're at least going to be good at 3/5 of the line. The center that came back, I believe, is Trey Hopkins, and he's average. He's fine. And then left guard, there was a competition there. And I think when you have a competition, you're going to get the best out of somebody. You know, if it's the best out of 3 terrible players, it doesn't matter. But I think there's at least a path for the offensive line to be good. And if that happens, I think he's got the offense he's got the weapons around him in Mixon and in his 3 receivers, Chase, Boyd, and T. Higgins, 3 dynamic receivers there. I think their offense could keep them in games. I could really see this going well for them. They're similar to Jacksonville for me in a way, but I feel like I trust Burrow and his weapons and his line more than I trust those things with Jacksonville. And like I said with Jacksonville in a couple episodes ago, I'm probably more into the stock 2 years from now than I am right now. I think if things click, if the offensive line's a little better, even if it's just an average unit, then I think you have the makings of like potentially like one of those like really dark horse elite offenses in football. Again, I'm not like crazy about this one, but I'm on the over here. It's not high expectations. I think their defense is not good, but I think they're good enough to support an offense to get to 7 wins. I don't expect them to be anything like, but to me, the max is 8, 9, maybe you get to 9 and 8 if Joe Burrow's just elite, which we don't know. But in his time that he played last year, he was awesome. Like he kept getting better. And once right before he got hurt, you feel like, okay, he's about to turn a corner here.
No, he was playing really well last year.
Really well. So I think this is one of those where I'm taking the over partially because it's fun to root for with this team too. Like I really want to see Joe Burrow be successful.
The only thing that worries me is you kind of hear things that early in training camp, he wasn't trusting his knee, which is natural. Like when guys come back from an ACL injury like this, like it's natural to they say the biggest thing is mental, like the knee's fine, but it's getting over. Okay. There's still pain there. There's still soreness, but it's good soreness. You're just building back that strength. And does he trust it? And my only thing is, does it take him 3 to 4 weeks to get into a groove? And where they can really hit the over is in their first 8 weeks. You know, they go Vikings, Bears, Steelers, Jags, Packers, Lions, Ravens, Jets. Like there's a couple games in there, Ravens, Packers, Steelers, just because it's in division. Bears, we'll talk about them in a little bit or on the next episode. But that's, not murder's row. But then you get to week 8, week 9, you go Browns, you get a bye, and then you go Raiders, Steelers, Chargers, Niners, Broncos, Ravens, Chiefs, Browns. That is a miserable second half of the year. And so he needs to be good out the gate. And it just worries me coming back from the ACL injury that it takes him a couple weeks to get the timing, to feel that trust in his knee, stay in the pocket, not worry about getting hit. And I don't feel like if you start 1-2, 1-3 with that schedule, I don't see how you pull out 5 to 6 wins in that second half.
I think they can be. You're right. I think a lot of it does depend on the beginning of their schedule, but there's a part of me that just says they're good enough to get to 7 wins. Like I don't expect them to be a contender in any fashion, but I think 7 wins would be an improvement. And they were probably headed there last year if Burrow didn't go down, maybe even better if he didn't go down. So,
and again, I like this team. I think it's more about the other stuff with their schedule, their division, more than it is about them. Like I said, I think 2 years from now, you're talking about them possibly winning the division. They're back in the playoffs like they were with Andy Dalton, and they're rolling. But this year just seems like that they're 1 year away from being 1 year away. Who was that in basketball that they said that about? Bruno Caboclo?
Caboclo. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Yeah, the Bengals are 1 year away from being 1 year away.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, but sometimes these things hit earlier than we expect them to. And I think young quarterbacks are better earlier than they used to be. Burrow, one thing I've mentioned before is a quarterback needs on a rookie contract. A quarterback needs a good offensive line and a good receiving core. He's definitely got the good receiving core. If the line takes a step forward, then that's on principle, like it's worth something. You know, I think that could be worth enough to get them to 7 wins. I don't care about them making the playoffs. I don't care about them. You know, they're not a division contender. Yeah. But I could see 7 wins, and I don't know that I'm going to bet on this one. I'm not sure, but if I did, I would enjoy them hitting the 7-win mark. It would be fun to watch. So if I'm going to bet it, it's one that would be fun to do.
I feel pretty confident in this one. I'm pretty confident in them going under. Like I said, it's more about everything around them with the schedule, with their division, than it is about them.
Well, the only bad thing when we disagree is the listeners, all 7 of them can't they can't just decide to disagree with us and take the opposite approach, which is probably pretty profitable, to be honest with you. So listeners, you'll just have to decide for yourself on that one. Up next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And their win total sits at 8.5. When I looked at that at first, before digging into the roster a little bit, when I saw 8.5, I was like, wow, that's crazy. A little crazier was that the under is actually the favorite on them. The over, if you take the over with them, it's plus 110. So you get plus odds if you happen to take the over, and they're plus 440 for the division. This seems like we haven't been looking at odds for a long time here because, you know, gambling just got legal in Tennessee, and you just moved to Illinois last year. So this is all fairly new to us, but I got to imagine this will probably be one of the lower win totals we've seen, especially during the Mike Tomlin era for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll start off with them and kind of going on that theme. I don't know if you know this, but Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He's never had a losing season.
Thief. You stole that from me.
He's gone 10-6, 12-4, 9-7, 12-4, 12-4, 8-8, 8-8, 11-5, 10-6, 11-5, 13-3, 9-6-1, 8-8, 12-4. So he's got a few 8 and 8s in there, 3 of them to be exact. But I don't. The thing I keep going back to is like, I'm gonna believe in what I've seen rather than what I think is gonna happen. That's gonna burn me sometimes, but I just have this belief that they're going to always right the ship. When you have, you know, stalwarts in Tomlin, in Ben Roethlisberger, you feel like that's worth something. Now, if I do have a worry, it's their offensive line. Pro Football Focus ranks their offensive line 31st out of 32 teams. They're losing their best offensive lineman in Villanueva. Pouncey's gone. They're just it's in shambles. However, they did bring in a new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, who's known for coming up with different gimmicky ways, almost like Andy Reid, for getting the ball out quick, for getting the ball creatively into space to his playmakers. That's new to Ben. He hasn't been exposed to much offense that has motion in it. So it'd be interesting to see how that happens. But I'm going to believe that Tomlin's going to have a winning record until he proves to me that he can't. I'm hammering this over. This is one of my favorite bets of the year. I have already placed a bet on it. I will be taking the over on this. I'm probably going to put some more on it. 8.5 for the Steelers. When over gives me plus odds. Yeah, let's go. Let's ride. What's your thought on the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, we're on the same page here on the over, and you probably didn't see. I think you probably got it on a different screen, but I held up my notebook, and the first notice says, "I believe in Tomlin."
Yeah.
I believe in Mike Tomlin. Like, the dude is an unbelievable coach. Anybody that questions his ability, I think is crazy. He just knows how to win. He knows that team. He understands how Pittsburgh's going to play, and especially where they play. Ground control. Yes, they've had Big Ben, but like, and he's been awesome, but they've always relied on defense and a good run game. That's always been their recipe. And I think Najee Harris coming in, even though their line is better, Najee Harris is awesome. Like, Alabama's always had good running backs, so it kind of just feels like now that you expect them to have the best running back, and so they're not overhyped when they come out. But when was, like, besides Trent Richardson, like, I really don't know the last Alabama running back that's been bad in the NFL. And this guy can catch. He can be a 3-down back. He can carry the ball 30 times a game. They're going to get the ball quick out of his hand. Juju, Chris Claypool, they're quick receivers. They're going to change their offense a little bit. I don't think Ben can throw the ball down the field like he could 4 years ago, but I don't think he has to. I don't believe that that's what you got to do with how fast the receivers are. But he's off another year. Well, it was basically Tommy John surgery is what he had, correct?
Yeah, something like that. And they always say, like, elbow surgeries,
It takes a year.
You're better the second year. At least that is what is in baseball. If in fantasy anyway, you want to take the guy the second year after Tommy John once people have given up on him.
And that's kind of where I was going with that. Is like, it's always been, if a guy has Tommy John in baseball, the second year is when you start believing it, or the end of that first year they come back. When they get 80 to 100 games or whatever into the season or whatever it is, they get 15 starts in them. But you just remember the last thing you saw. And the last thing you saw was the Steelers. They were 11-0 and they just crapped the bed the end of the year. And I think they're somewhere in between that 11-0 and how they ended the season. So they go over 500. They're 17 games. I'm just going to bet that they're going to win 9 games. Like, it's Mike Tomlin. It's the Steelers. It's a tough place to play. Like, I don't know. That's my confidence is in Mike Tomlin.
Now they do have a somewhat tough schedule. But they get the Lions. They do get the Bengals twice. And, if you don't believe in the
Bengals, they're not going 0-2 against the Browns and the Ravens. Like,
yeah, they're going to take one of those. Like, and they're going to take another game they're not supposed to. Like, they're going to be good. I mean, at the Vikings, you're going to find in the next episode that I'm not really high on the Vikings and their chances this year.
Me either.
Like you said, I just believe in Mike Tomlin, former Memphis assistant coach, by the way, for any listeners out there who didn't know that. He was once upon a time an assistant on the Memphis football staff. And I think
maybe the offensive coordinator from last year was on the Memphis staff at one point. Now he's gone, but
yeah, he was the offensive coordinator during D'Angelo years.
Yeah, they've got some Memphis connections, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna root for Pittsburgh. It's not gonna happen. I will root for him now because I took the over, but I believe in Tomlin. I definitely believe in him, and I think you're going to see good things for the Pittsburgh. I'm not going to consider them a Super Bowl favorite or even a Super Bowl contender, or maybe not even a playoff contender. But I just would be shocked if they just were terrible. I'm going
to believe in 9 games in a 17-game season with Mike Tomlin and Big Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like you believe in Belichick and Tom Brady going to the AFC Championship. Like, it's just, you kind of believe in it.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But like, I mean, let's make sense here,
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. One of the darlings of the preseason in terms of a team with a lot of hype is the Cleveland Browns.
Let's go.
I think you said you love the Buffalo Bills and Madden. I feel like you've always played with the Browns or the Bills as your kind of rebuilding team. Well, now you don't have to rebuild them because they're both pretty good. They have done that.
They've always been the worst team when I played Madden. Yeah. They were always the worst team.
Well, times are changing because I'm sitting here looking at a Browns win total of 10.5 with the under being slightly favored with that. I want to know what you think. There's a lot of hype surrounding Baker Mayfield, surrounding the return of Odell Beckham. People think the defense has improved, the offensive line's good. What's your thoughts on the win total? It's 10.5 with the under slightly favored. And let me get before you go, let me get those division odds for them. It was last we checked, it was plus 155.
155.
That's pretty good odds. Yeah.
This team, and let me get my what's his name? What's the guy from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour? Ron White.
I was like,
this team is loaded. I think if it wasn't for Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, Like, I don't think Kansas City and Buffalo is built better than this team. Overall, top to bottom, I think this is the best built team. They just don't have the superstar quarterback. And I think Mayfield's really good. I just don't think he's on that. He's obviously not on that level of Josh Allen. I love this team. If you can get Beckham to fit in and be comfortable in this offense, you're adding, he's still an unbelievable receiver. Like, if he's good, he's a top 10 receiver in the NFL. They were really good last year. Nick Chubb, I think, is one of those top 5 running backs who can make a real difference. And then you still got Hunt. I mean, if Clowney, I mean, it's a lot of ifs because the guys that they have on their team were really good and really good last year, really good 2 years ago. If Clowney can play like he did against opposite of J.J. Watt in Houston, forget last year, opposite of Garrett, and they can get pressure on the quarterback, this team, I think, wins the division. I put a bet on them plus 155 to win the division. And I think they got a real chance to go to the Super Bowl. I think they are the top 3. I think it goes Chiefs, Bills, Browns, and the AFC. I don't know why I love this team. I love Mayfield because I feel like everybody hates on him. I feel like everybody hates on Cleveland as a city, kind of being that Memphis thing. Like, nobody likes Cleveland. They just dog it. Even though Myles Garrett was in that rough up that, a couple of years ago with the Steelers, I still like that dude is just a freak. Like, he is a freak athlete. I love watching him play. I don't know. I'm excited about the Browns. Like, I love my Cowboys. I'll always watch the Cowboys when they're on TV, when I can watch them. But I love the Browns. Like, I want to watch them. If I could get a Sunday ticket, I don't have to, but I would watch them if I could get it. Like, that would be my team to watch every Sunday.
It's another I think we're gonna disagree on, but I think we feel the same about them. I'm excited to watch them too, but there's something about their 10.5 that feels weird. I don't know why, but something jumps out to me. They feel like
it's the Brownies.
Yeah, and I guess like 2 years ago they had high expectations with a lot of the same guys, and I know there wasn't Kevin Stefanski there, and things kind of fell apart. But there were some high expectations,
which I think he's the real deal.
I do too. Now, I think he's a really good play caller, but I think this offense has the makings of being one of the best in the league, and it depends a lot on the growth of Baker Mayfield. Now, one thing with them is they can be run dependent, so he doesn't have to be great. He can just be a drop back passer, just be a play action passer, throw 20, 25 passes a game instead of the 40 that a lot of other quarterbacks are asked to do. But I feel like if they want to take a step to the next level, then he's got to make himself a better passer. He's got to take himself to another level. Now, if he does that and they're successful, one bet you might want to place on the Browns, if you're a believer on that team, is his MVP odds. His MVP odds right now are plus 2,600. And that award typically goes to a guy who takes the leap. It's almost like the most improved player in basketball. It feels that way. Someone who's unexpectedly great. And if Baker takes that leap and becomes an elite quarterback on a team that finishes 13-4, well, then you might be having a case with him for MVP odds. So, like, for me, if I'm placing a bet on this team, I'm taking the division, or if I'm placing a bet on the positive direction, I'm taking the Baker Mayfield for MVP at plus 2,600. I'm taking that division total at plus 155. But if I'm having to pick the over under, I think I'd take the under. Like, the under is slightly favored. I don't know why. It's just a feeling. It's just a gut feeling. I don't believe in them. I want to, because I like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a great personality. I think he's one of the new young faces of the NFL. But something about this smells funny to me. I still have yet to figure out why I feel the way that I do. I don't know that it's backed up by data, because you look on the offense is not the problem. I think the offense, even if Mayfield's just okay, the offense is going to be good. I trust Stefanski. I trust the tools he has around him, and Landry and Beckham. And I mean, even Hooper and Njoku are good tight ends. I love Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is the best running back in football. I love Derrick Henry too, but I think Nick Chubb is the best running back in football. And Kareem Hunt's probably like in the top 5, if we're being honest, how awesome he is. But
he really is.
He is great. But I look at the defensive side of the ball, and they have 2 standout players. And it is Myles Garrett at right end and it is John Johnson at safety. I got to be honest, man. The rest of the defense is not good. Like, it's not good. The linebackers are terrible. They're going to get torched. Like, they're going to get torched in the secondary. I think they're going to get beat, and I think their style, that running style, like, unless Baker Mayfield takes a step forward as a passer, because they're going to be down in some games because people are going to score on them. Unless Baker takes a step forward, I don't see them being that next level contender. I think it's Chiefs, a big step, then the Bills, then another step down, a pretty significant step down, and then it's the glob of these teams. Like, it's the Browns, it's the Ravens, it's the Steelers, it's potentially the Patriots, the Chargers, the Dolphins. There's so many teams that can be lumped in. The Colts, the Broncos, if they're serious about things. It's Chiefs, Bills, and the glob, and I think they're near the top of the glob, but they're still in the glob. They're not, to me, not a real contender. So I'm not placing a bet on this one, but if I had to, I'd be taking the under. Any further thoughts on the Browns before we move to the projected division winner?
I think they won 11 games last year, and I think Baker Mayfield makes a step. Like, I don't think he's going to be worse than last year. I think everybody even improves a little bit, and you're getting back Beckham, who, for what he is and what he's been in Cleveland, like, that guy is a game changer. And if you can figure out how to get him in the offense and productive, and where Mayfield isn't feeling like he has to get him the ball all the time, and he can just fit in and be part of that team. And Stefanski, like, he's an unbelievable play caller. Unbelievable. Baker Mayfield 2 years ago, when they had, what's his face at coach? God, the guy that got fired when they were on Hard Knocks and all that. That dude was
Hugh Jackson.
Well, even after Hugh Jackson, the coach in between Stefanski and Hugh, I mean, that guy had no clue what he was doing. He shouldn't be an NFL coach. Like, they just looked unorganized. And so you finally get a coach in Stefanski who looks like he knows what he's doing, can call plays.
Freddie Kitchens. Yeah.
Like, Mayfield actually looked decent last year. He wasn't a top 10 quarterback, but he wasn't a bottom 20. You know, he was somewhere between 10 and 15 last year. And if he can make another step in another year in that offense, I don't see how they win less than 11, which is what they won last year. I just don't see it. They got so much talent on that team.
To me, what he was last year was exactly what Stefanski made of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota. Kind of runs that similar offense. You know, it's basically the same offense.
Which, by the way, is when the Vikings went to, was it the NFC Championship game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah. I mean,
so give me
I don't think they got that far. I don't think they got that far.
They beat the Saints. That's when Stephon Diggs had the catch against the Saints.
Yeah, but I think Keenum was the quarterback at that point, right?
I forget. But yeah, anyways, that dude, Stefanski makes a difference.
I agree completely. I do completely agree with that. I do trust him. I think if you feel like he's Kirk Cousins, then you've put a cap on your team, because we know what Kirk Cousins is. And I'm going to go on a little rant about him in our NFC North show. It'll be fun. You like that?
I'm with really. You on that one.
I don't like that. It's not good. If you think Mayfield is similar to Kirk Cousins, then you've kind of put a cap on this team. But if Mayfield takes a step forward, I'm not going to be surprised. This is if you ranked my confidence in bets on teams, this is probably going to be like the bottom 5 in terms of confidence. Like, I would not bet this at all because I don't know how to read the team. I could see 8 and 9 with them. Like,
I'm not going to say I'm betting this
out
one
of the rim possibility.
That confident in it, because it's still a lot of wins. Like, the odds are something's going to go wrong. Somebody's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
How many NFL teams make it through without losing a star? Like, you see it every year that a star player goes down. I just think if they stay somewhat healthy, they just have too much talent on that team to not win another 11 games.
Well, to steal a word from your son Easton, their defense is butt cheeks. It is not good. It is so bad.
Butt cheeks.
And maybe there's a change there too, but I remember with frustrating years with the Chiefs when I thought that the offense was great and you needed a defensive scheme change, you needed some talent change. Their defense is not good. So
I think I brought it up when we were talking about the Cowboys. I watched Peyton Manning beat the Cowboys when Tony Romo scored over 50 points in a game. I lived the crappy defense and hope our quarterback can just win us a bunch of games. I've lived it.
You know what? There was one thing I wanted to point out with their defense too that I'm thinking about it. If I go back and look at their schedule from last year, I think they lost a couple of games, or at least I don't know if they won or lost these games, but they had two really low scoring games where if you go back and look at it, it looks like their defense was really good. But in fact, it was like just the craziest wind you'd ever seen. I think it was against the Texans and against the Raiders, and those games were like 10-6 and 9-6, something like that. It's ridiculously low scoring games.
But if you remember, and I'll go back to
the ball.
Yeah. If you remember, if you go back to the Cowboys, and I know I bring them up, it's the team I watch the most, and you kind of make comparisons, right? But when you go back to Dak's rookie year, when Romo got hurt in the preseason, he broke his back or whatever. We went 13-3 with Dak as the quarterback. Our defense wasn't very good. They were very average, but they ranked in the top 10 of every category. And it's because Zeke was a rookie. Their offensive line was tremendous. It was the best offensive line in the league. Wasn't even close. And they held time of possession. I mean, they won 60% to 40 every game at least. We were going to control the ball, march down the field, and shove it down your throat. If we get 3 points, we get 3 points. If we get 7, we get 7. But you're not going to get the ball more than 6 times a game, whatever it is. We're just going to take the ball and keep it. And I think Cleveland can kind of do the same thing and protect that defense, where that defense isn't a top 15 defense, but they could rank in it because Cleveland will keep the ball. They're going to dominate time of possession. And even though football has changed to spread it out, run down the field, gun, pass the ball 40 times a game, there's still a place for that time possession. If you only get the ball 5 times, the max you can score is 35 points.
Yeah.
So can we score in that area? Can we score more than that? Can we force a few turnovers? I don't know. I like the way they're set up.
It's one of those teams where if somebody told you could convince me that they were going to be the second or third best team in the AFC, but I feel like anybody could also convince me they're going to miss the playoffs entirely.
Yeah.
I could see this going a lot of ways. It's one of those, how I trust Mike Tomlin. I said, and it's the opposite feeling here. I'm going to trust Mike Tomlin to win until he doesn't. I'm going to trust the Browns to lose until they don't. And last year they didn't. But
That's fair.
But I'm still.
That's fair.
It's
like the Memphis Tigers football team.
Yeah. I probably sound way more convicted about this than I do, but it's because I had to put in a lot of research to come up with an argument because I really didn't have one. So that's about how this went. It sounds very American of me, isn't it?
America.
Anyway, America. All right, football. Football. Let's keep talking. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens like that the whole time.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. The river.
Go Tigers. Hurricane Ida didn't have nothing on us. We go Tigers. We tackle Hurricane Ida. Oh yeah.
Are you Ed Orgeron or the Macho Man?
That was a mix at the end.
Oh yeah. What I gotta say something real quick. In my class at school, we do this thing. I do this thing to get their attention, and I don't know why what you just said reminded me of this, because the way they said it today reminded me of Macho Man. But I'll say, they're all talking or whatever. I'll be like, instead of saying hello class, I need your attention, I'll be like, give me a Kool-Aid man, and they're all, oh yeah, and then they pause and listen to whatever I have to say. And today I was like, man, y'all sound like Macho Man. And they look at me like,
you need to change it to
who is Macho Man?
You need to change it to snap into a Slim Jim. Oh yeah.
A couple of years ago, I was in a different school.
Macho Man, yeah.
I did give me 2 claps and a little, or I said, give me 2 claps and a Little John. They went, okay. Well, they made him make a Rick Ross sound and went, oh.
That's awesome.
Oh,
that's awesome.
So anyway, on to the Baltimore Ravens. We'll get back to business here. The Ravens are another. I feel like every team in this division is kind of difficult to pick, because you could see it going either way for sure. The Ravens have an over/under of 11, and their under is favored. Every team in this division, the under is the favorite. Although the Ravens are pretty close, they're plus 115 to win the division. I got to be honest, man. Like, I hate them. I want to get that out there. I don't know what it is, but I so severely dislike John Harbaugh.
Because there's people out there that think Lamar is just as good as Patrick Mahomes too, and you are disgusted by that.
Look, I wrote this down. This is exactly what I wrote in my notes. I get really irritated with Lamar Jackson being compared to Mahomes like he was a few years ago. He is nowhere near elite. He ain't that good. Watch his game against the Colts last year. Dude couldn't complete a pass. He is not good. I mean, he's an average NFL quarterback that's really fast. He's actually a below average NFL quarterback who's very fast. And they're always like, let's surround him with good receivers. Let's put in some good receivers. It doesn't matter. He can't throw to him anyway. Like, the only thing he can do, he can throw a deep ball. Sure, that's fine. But he is not a good quarterback. He's a unique quarterback. And that's what makes him tough.
He's a really good football player.
Sure. Yeah. What did Mark Schlereth call him, a football playing Jesse? That's what he is. I mean, I like
him. Like, there's nothing like, I love watching him.
It's not that I dislike watching him or anything. I just, all the hype around the year he won MVP, he didn't freaking deserve to win MVP. That was big. Even if it wasn't Mahomes, it shouldn't have been him. He is the NFL's only true gadget quarterback. Like, you know, how those gadget players, it was Percy Harvin for a while. Then it was like Reggie Bush was used that way for a while.
Taysom Hill, like, you could put Taysom Hill in that, even though he's not a full-time quarterback, but like, that is as gadget as it gets.
To me, he's the gadget full-time quarterback, because like, you don't really know what you're going to get. I think the whole thinking he's an elite player is nonsense, and it's kind of driven by the fantasy community. He's an elite fantasy player because he runs the ball, just like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is not an elite quarterback. He's not even a good quarterback. Lamar Jackson,
Josh Allen is what Baltimore wants Lamar Jackson to be,
and he ain't that. Josh Allen is amazing. Lamar Jackson is unique, and that's the difference. I mean, he's different than what everybody else. He's the best running quarterback I've ever seen, but he is a poor passing quarterback.
Oh, hold on. Time out. He ain't got anything on Mike Vick. Now, let's chill out. Hold on. Mike Vick was something else.
A difference with this is, I think he has a better offense tailored to him. When Vic was running, Vic had more of the highlight plays. He's obviously a great runner. It was probably the most fun to watch, but Lamar Jackson's got this tailored offense to him, and he's been able to do it. Honestly, has he done it now longer than Vic did?
That's fine, but nobody's ever.
I'll stand by that. I think he's the best running. I don't like him at all. So if I'm saying that, I really mean it, because I don't want to give him any props. He's a death for me. I just made a fart noise on a microphone. That's pretty cool.
You're gonna get in trouble.
Oh no.
No.
That being said, so I think this team doesn't really, when I look at their lineup and their depth chart, I don't think they really have like a significant weakness on their roster. They have good corners with Marlon Humphrey and former Chief and now hated ex-Chief Marcus Peters. They're good in the back end with Elliott and Clark. They're good on the line. They added Justin Houston for next to nothing. They added Calais Campbell. I mean, it's a good defense. It's not the best defense, but it's a good defense. You look at the,
it's not their 0-2 defense or whatever it was, but it's good.
It's still a good defense. You look at the offensive side, and while they lost Orlando Brown in a trade to the Chiefs, they got some draft picks back, and then they added Villanueva from Pittsburgh, who was Pittsburgh's best offensive lineman, moved him off left tackle, put him at right tackle. They're going to get Ronnie Stanley back, and they were a lot worse with him. I do think they lose a bit with J.K. Dobbins. I think he was definitely a difference maker. But the Ravens, let's see if this is the Ravens, I believe, have had like a different rushing leader every year for like the last 7-8 years, I believe. I think that's correct.
Yeah,
it's been like Justin Forsett, Alex Collins, Mark Ingram, Terrence West, just random dudes have been their have been their rushing leaders. So they've shown a way to get creative on the offensive side, and just like they did with Lamar. Lamar might be their rushing leader this year. I do think J.K. Dobbins is a loss. I think he's one of those running backs who can actually make a difference. But man, I don't. The defense is good. The O-line solid. The wide receivers and tight ends are fine. The quarterback is fine. The running back, who cares? It's running back. This is a tough call. Like if you make me decide I'm staying away, I think 11 is a really good number for them. If you force me to pick, I'll say under just because I hate them. And I want the Chiefs to beat them. And I think it's week 2. And I truthfully, if you make, I think they push. I think they're going to push at 11 wins. I don't know if you could ever bet a push, which I don't think you have the option anywhere, but like if you could get like plus 700 odds on a push, like I think you can pick the exact wins. Hang on a second. I'm going to look something up on Fanduel. If you want to go ahead and tell what you've got on them,
I'm kind of in the same boat as you are. I think this is the one that we really agree on here. I like watching Lamar, and I like him. Like I like him as a human being, as a person. Like he seems like a cool dude. He's out at like a park throwing footballs to kids and whatnot. But like I just don't believe in, if you can't at least be a threat to throw the ball in the NFL, I don't think you can be elite. Like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a team like the Bears in 06 with Rex Grossman who their defense just carries them all the way, but I don't think this is that defense. Like I don't think they're a team like, was it 02 when they won the Super Bowl and just dominated defensively, I believe, when they played the Buccaneers?
The Ravens?
Yeah.
The Ravens beat the Giants in the Super Bowl. And
was it the Giants?
It's 2000 season, so it was 2001.
Okay.
February 01 or January 01.
Yeah, I don't think it's that defense, and I don't think it's the Bears defense of 06 or Bears defense. Like I don't believe that they're going to carry them. And I think J.K. Dobbins is a huge, like they traded Mark Ingram or didn't bring him back, not traded him. They just didn't bring him back because J.K. Dobbins was the guy, is the guy. He's going to be our 1,500-yard rusher, our bell cow. Like he's the guy. And they don't have that. And I think he took a lot of pressure off Lamar to run the ball. So I don't know. They're going to rely on his legs a lot, which I think is dangerous for any quarterback. You see Cam Newton got cut today. He took a lot of those shots, just like Lamar doesn't take the big shots though. Like he avoids a lot of hits, but still you rely that much on a quarterback's legs. And every time he gets hit, that their fan base is just going to take a gasp of air and go, please get up. I just think you're playing with danger when you expect your quarterback to run the ball for 100 yards and throw for 250 every game to win. Yeah, and I think that's what they rely on.
Hey, I pulled up there. You can actually on FanDuel bet their exact win totals. So starting at 9 is plus 650. So is 10 is plus 650. 11 is plus 600. 12 is plus 500. 13 plus 550. So FanDuel even thinks that 12.
They got a better chance of going 13 and 4 than 11.
I think I would put money on them being 11 and 6. Like that's just what
I think they'll be around that number. I still think they're good. Like I'm not like when I knock them, I don't think like they're a bad team. I think they're a really good team that's going to win 10, 11, 12 games.
Yeah,
I just don't feel good. I just don't feel good either way on under or over. So staying away. This is like I got the under for what it's worth.
Yeah.
But I don't feel confident at all. And the only reason I got the under is because I think the Browns are going to be that good.
A reluctant under. One thing I would think about after kind of recapping this division, some bets I like are not the over-unders. Like I don't think I'd place bets on the over-unders here. I like, you could probably get in on some Jamar Chase action for offensive rookie of the year if Burrow takes a leap. That's something that could kind of go along with it. Usually
could that be comeback player of the year? Can you bet on that too? I don't know if you can bet on comeback player of the year.
I don't know. I like the Steelers at plus 440 to win the division. If the Browns aren't great and the Ravens aren't as good as everybody thinks they are, could you see the Steelers getting to 11 wins? I could. And then the other guys are at 10, or, you win the 11 via tiebreaker or something like that. Like they're all sitting at 10 or 11. I mean, those three, it could happen. Like I said earlier, I like the Browns odds to win the division better than I like them over 10.5. Plus 155 to win the division sounds pretty fun. And then Baker Mayfield plus 2,600 for MVP. If you really believe in the Browns and you think they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, which seems like a lot of people do, then that's a bet you can place. Now, I still think it's going to be Mahomes or Allen, maybe Aaron Rodgers winning, but still, I mean, it's not a bad bet for, 26-1 odds.
2 bets I got. I already said one division winner, Browns plus 155, and I'm not sure the odds on this one. I should probably know this and look it up. Najee Harris, rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year. I think he's going to get the ball a ton.
Yeah.
And if the Steelers do make the playoffs or whatever, like I could see him winning offensive player of the year or rookie offensive player of the year.
Yeah, his odds to win offensive rookie of the year, Najee Harris plus 900.
So
Jamar Chase plus 2,000.
There's good value there. I mean, he's probably honestly, one of the top 3.
Yeah,
4.
It's probably gonna be one of the quarterbacks. I mean, I would just
it's usually who he goes to.
Yeah, last year probably should have gone to Jefferson, but he went to Herbert. I mean, Jefferson was graded as the second best receiver in the NFL as a rookie, and still didn't get, because he wasn't a quarterback. I mean, so he didn't get.
Got to be a quarterback.
Consideration. Yep, it's becoming like the Heisman. You got to be.
Yep, you got to be a quarterback. Which is crap. Yep. Like, give it to the best player.
I agree wholeheartedly. All right. Any other closing thoughts on this division?
No, I think it's the most exciting division, besides with maybe the AFC or the NFC West when we get to it. But I think this is the most exciting division in football, but it's been that way honestly, it's been that way for a long time now.
It really has. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this season. I mean, you got a lot of different storylines between Joe Burrow. Is Baker going to take the step forward? What are the Steelers still good? Are the Ravens going to, are they going to? I think the Ravens feel like they're disappointed how their season ended. So, I mean, it's just going to be interesting to watch, and I'll be paying close attention to how this one shakes out. The only action I think
I've got on it,
only action I think I've got on it is the Steelers over 8.5. I might sprinkle some on that plus 440 division line, maybe, but I've probably just taken the 8.5 over on them. All right, let's get off here and record our NFC North episode. Thank you guys for listening to this one. Hope you enjoy it and learn something. Give us a follow on Instagram. What's that handle?
Backyard_blue.
Backyard_blue. Like us on Facebook. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube.
We got college football picks coming out Thursday.
Ooh.
Mostly SEC.
Hunter's got
some confident in this.
SEC, best conference in America. Just means more.
Yeehaw.
Thanks for listening, everybody. See y'all soon.
Yeehaw.